What's going on YouTube? So the Toyota 4Runner is a very iconic vehicle, and it's known for a lot of things, including its off-road capability. However, one thing it hasn't really been known for is luxury. Perhaps that is until now, because I'm standing next to the brand new 2025 Toyota 4Runner Platinum. This is a new top dog luxury trim level, and we're going to check it out today to see, is this the most luxurious 4Runner that has ever been made? Let's find out. So getting started here with the exterior, as you'd expect, the Platinum does have some special touches to signify that it is the Platinum. So it kind of builds off of the limited trim, but what you have is a darkened, more aggressive finish. So you'll notice up here on our grille, we're going to have this kind of gloss black finish through these bars. The same gloss black finish will be down here on our lower fascia as well. Then, in addition to that, you're going to have the up-level LED headlights. So we've got the crystal design here for the projector LEDs with our daytime running light and turn signal indicator, of course, being LED. And then you've got your LED fog lights right here with that blocky design. Now moving on to our wheels, we've got a special 20-inch alloy for the Platinum grade. This has a gloss black finish to match with the black accents with the front, and it does have a nice look to it overall. In addition to that, you'll notice that you have body color wheel surrounds for a more refined look. And speaking of color, this is a new color called Underground, and it does look quite nice when applied here to the 4Runner. Up top here, we've got iForce Max badging. We'll talk more about the powertrain later, but this is standard with the hybrid. And then up here at our mirrors, we've got the gloss black finish, LED turn signal indicator right there, and then we've also got standard blind spot monitoring, heating, and power folding. Now at the side of the all-new 4Runner, it comes in at 194.9 inches in length, a tad bit longer than the Land Cruiser for reference. And as far as some special elements for the Platinum, one of the key distinguishing elements is actually a lot of the other trim levels have branding right here. The Platinum actually has branding up here in the front door, so that's a little bit of a fun fact for you. We also have blacked out door handles and raised roof rails up top. Now as we head around to the rear design of this Platinum top dog 4Runner, I have to say it looks really quite handsome. And also here for the Platinum model, you really do have a lot of cool design touches to make you know that you spent the top dollar. Now as we look at some of those touches, we have a spoiler up here, we have a wiper integrated underneath. This piece is going to be a gloss black regardless of what exterior color you choose. And then for your taillights, one of the really nice things about all 4Runners is that you're going to have a full LED taillight, on all versions. So that's going to include your brake light, your turn signal, and your reverse light. As we drop down, we have our blacked out 4Runner branding, and down here at the very bottom, we have the piano black finish for the bumper. I think that really helps spice up the design. All 4Runners tow 6,000 pounds, even this hybridized version, which is 1,000 more than last year. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, Toyota is going to give you every single one of those as standard equipment, so you don't have to move necessarily to the Platinum to get all of those as standard, but of course it is going to be included here on this top dog model. However, there is a really cool exclusive cabin here for the Platinum, so let's dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12 and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point. No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, let's move on to that special interior. First, we'll take a look at the key fob. We've got Toyota's standard smart entry system. One interesting observation is the fact that this one, being a top trim, gets you the up-level branding. The lower trims is just the basic key fob. You can just reach behind the handle, that's going to unlock the door. And then take a look down here, because this is a special Platinum feature. We have the power running board, so that's going to make getting in and out nice and easy, even though it's a relatively tall vehicle with about 8.8 inches of ground clearance on this version. Now, take a look inside this interior. So like Mason was talking about, it is an exclusive interior for this model. We have the up-level real leather on board, and it's not just real leather, but it is a quilted design. This is the only model that gets the quilting, and it's finished in a special color. This is called dark navy. This is the only trim that can get that. So you're going to notice you've got that dark blue finish with some black accents all throughout the cabin. It looks quite upscale. The seats themselves, 8-way power with 4-way lumbar support. Memory seats are located right there on the door trim. But let's go ahead and get inside. Now when I close up the door, we can look around at the rest of the cabin materials, and spoiler alert, they are elevated over many of the other trims. So over here in our door trim, you notice we've got more of that blue leather going through there, as well as the center section with color contrast stitching. Also, we've got the nice padding that goes across the entire upper part, which is really nice for those of you who like to kind of cruise like this with your arm up there. Moving to the upper dash, they did not add any soft touch plastic up here, so this remains hard touch like the rest of the trims. But in the center section, we've got a faux wood trim instead of other types of silver or blue plastic trim. Nice padding over here on the glove box for a more premium appearance. And then down here will continue to be a hard touch plastic. Let's go ahead and fire it up with the push button start. So getting into some individual features of the interior, we'll begin with our gauge cluster, of course. Full digital cluster, 12.3 inches. This is going to be on everything except the base model. You can reconfigure this, but what's special about the Platinum trim, I want to point out, and only the Platinum trim, is that we have a head-up display. So really nice that you have that additional information up there. That's the first time that's ever been offered on a 4Runner. And then as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got the latest design here. It's leather wrapped with the perforation on the side. It is surprisingly power, tilt, and telescoping. I really didn't expect to see that on board with this. And of course we have steering wheel heating as well. And Platinums also include rain sensing wipers. Okay, let's get into interior storage next. Pop this open. We have a decent amount of storage right here, felt lined. But there's a lot more storage beyond just the center console. You'll notice that we've got 2 cup holders, silver trimmed, and then you've got this nice big storage cubby right through there. This side is going to be a wireless phone charging pad on all but the base trim level. And then additionally, you've got this very large passenger storage shelf, which can be utilized by, of course, the passenger or by the driver. Now, as far as the shifter is concerned, nice physical style on board, nothing complicated. You can shift manually like so, but you cannot do that with paddle shifters. When we go into reverse, you'll notice that we've got the up-level 360-degree camera system. So obviously, as you can see, you've got that nice overhead view. You've got active trajectory, and you can also switch between various different views by pressing these buttons right there. And then right next to that, you've got your electronic parking brake, brake hold, all your 4-wheel drive controls, as well as your drive modes and your tow haul. Right here, you've got some additional buttons, which, as you can see, you actually still, even though this is the Platinum, have some blank buttons. That's because some of this stuff would be on your off-road specific versions. But you do have a button here that can pull up that 360 camera manually when you're parking. Taking a look at our climate controls, this model is going to get a dual zone automatic setup, of course. Big, easy to use knobs. I appreciate Toyota doesn't make this complicated. You'll also notice that we've got heated seats with 3 stages, as well as ventilated seats with 3 stages. And then you got a big prominent volume knob for the up-level sound system that this model has. It is a 14-speaker JBL sound system. You get the premium speaker grills over there on the pillars, as you can see, with piano black finish. And then the other cool thing that you get is that you can press that button right there and you can pull out a portable speaker and take this with you if you're camping or doing something like that. We saw this feature first debut, of course, on the Tacoma, which is a related product to this 4Runner. Now, let's take a look here at this big old display. So this is the 14-inch infotainment display. It is standard, of course, like everything else on the Platinum trim. And this does have wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay. You have built-in navigation as well. And everything is just nice and responsive and absolutely huge. Certainly looks a lot more premium than that standard 8-inch display. Up top here, we've got the digital camera, rear view mirror, HomeLink universal remotes are built in. I can press that button right there. That will open up our standard sunroof. So as you can see, this is just the conventional size sunroof, but it does open up fully and have a little bit of a wind buffer. You can furthermore drop that lower glass and really create a lot of different wind flow inside of here, which I think a lot of 4Runner owners appreciate doing.
But let's check out the rear seat area for this new Platinum 4Runner. I have to say, they have improved quite a few different elements, one of which is space. For this new model, we have about 2 inches more legroom than we had before, and about 38 inches of headroom. So, like I said, about a couple inches more space for someone who's 5'9". As you can see, this seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", and I do still have plenty of room, about 7 or 8 inches of space. If I fold down the center armrest, I do have 2 cup holders inside. And then as far as features are concerned here in the center, you are going to have some nice features such as these vents here in the center section. And we're also going to have an exclusive feature here on the Platinum trim level that is 3-stage heated back seats. This is the only version of the 4Runner to get the heated back seats. So if you want the nicest rear seat, that would be here on this one. We have 2 USB-C ports and a household outlet as well. Now the seat itself is going to be pretty soft back here, and you have the ability to recline it a good distance as well. So it's overall a very nice rear seat. Also, the materials are going to be elevated on the door trim with leatherette here where your arm will rest, as well as leather through most of it instead of the hard touch plastic that you'll find on other versions of this. And you even have a bottle storage. And let's see how much space you're going to find back here. Now, a couple things to point out. First of all, unlike any 4Runner before, we actually do have a new power tailgate as the kick function as well. So that's a new feature to the 4Runner. You can also, of course, roll the glass down like Drew was mentioning earlier. And let's go ahead and talk about overall cargo space. So when it comes to this 4Runner, we are going to have a little bit less space because this Platinum is hybrid exclusive. The hybrid does impede a little bit on the overall cargo capacity. As you can see, it sticks a little bit out of the floor. That's for your battery and electric components. So overall cargo capacity is less, but it's still a lot. 42 cubic feet behind the second row of seats, 82 cubic feet as a maximum. So, like I said, those are still really good figures. And by the way, if you are curious about how that compares in the 2-row midsize segment, you can go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. On our website, we have a chart that goes through all the features that you might be looking for, all the categories, whatnot, that you would be looking for in this segment. And you can sort by the things that are most important to you. For instance, if tech is the most important thing, if cargo capacity, if rear seat space and features are most important, you can find all of that in a chart and sort based on the things that are most important to you. But back to the 4Runner. Like I said, 82 cubic feet as a maximum. This version cannot get a third row, so I do want to point that out. Any hybridized 4Runner cannot get a third row. You can get a third row on the limited version. And as far as the seats, you can't fold those with handles, so you do have to go up there to the second row to fold them down. And now I've got those seats folded down. As you can see, they do fold 60-40 split. Let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. That's something we do in all of our Car Confectioners reviews. Overall cargo length behind Drew's seating position, 77 inches. From behind the second row of seats to the rear of the cargo area, 43 inches. Overall cargo width, 49 inches. And height is going to be about 29 inches. Now, compared to other versions of the 4Runner, the height here at the rear of the cargo area is what you're paying for. So those are more like 35 inches. So keep in mind you are, like I said, losing 4 or 5 inches of height overall. However, that does mean that it's more in line with the floor. So when you're loading things in, you don't have a giant hump where the second row of seats are. Now, as far as other things, we do have a household outlet, and we also have, of course, a full-size spare tire integrated underneath of the bumper. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Platinum 4Runner. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things. As you can see on the screen right now, we'll also be getting our sound level reading for this highest-end 4Runner. But first, we're going to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration. Nice.
60 miles an hour. Going downhill, there's not really any good flat roads around here, but nevertheless, it's a good demonstration of just how quick this iForce Max powertrain is. So Max is the key word. When we're talking about Max, that means we're talking about a hybrid powertrain. So that takes basically that conventional 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that the other trims have, and then adds all the electric hybrid componentry, boosting the power up pretty substantially overall.
Yeah, so the overall power figures for this hybrid Max version are going to be really impressive. So overall power, 326 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque. So certainly no 4Runner ever had any close to that amount of torque before. And it is a significant boost over the standard option that he was just mentioning. That has 278 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque. Even that is a pretty big boost compared to the outgoing 4Runner. This is a massive jump ahead. And as you can see with that acceleration, it's just surprisingly quick. This is actually the same motor that they use in other versions of, Toyota products, such as the Land Cruiser. I do also want to point out, of course, this is the standard engine option here on the Platinum, the TRD Pro, and the Trail Hunter. So those very top-end 4Runners do get this as standard equipment. The other ones can option it on, though, so keep that in mind. If you're, really loving this powertrain but don't need all the luxury, you can get a lower trim level with this powertrain, but it is standard here on the Platinum.
Yeah, we're changing elevation here. We're climbing rapidly. My ears are actually popping. But the power is so ample, it does not strain at all, accelerating up this hill. And speaking of, let's talk a little bit more about the powertrain, and I'll talk about the transmission. It's an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's nice and smooth. It's a good operator, both with the conventional powertrain as well as the hybrid. It just really gives you downshifts as soon as you need it. Power just feels, quite ample. I think, especially if you went from the previous V6 to the turbo 4-cylinder, okay, maybe you don't really notice as big of a difference. But the generational change, if you go from the V6 to this powertrain, this is where you're really going to notice just the big, power and torque difference. And overall, this, power is a luxury, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And, having that extra power on board is a big advantage with this next generation.
Now, as far as how the power is routed to the ground, here on the Platinum, of course, you do have standard 4-wheel drive. Some of the lower-end trim levels, actually also including the Limited, do have 2-wheel drive as standard equipment. Then you have to option on all-wheel drive. That is not a choice on this. This is just standard 4-wheel drive, which is good. Also, of course, 4-wheel drive can be paired with the hybrid system. It's not mutually exclusive. It is a full-time 4-wheel drive setting.
Now, I'm kind of canyon carving in this 4Runner, which sounds completely hilarious to say, but we're here kind of right on the Mexican border in Southern California, and this canyon road is very curvy. So as I kind of push around some of these corners, I'm going to talk a little bit about dynamics. Now, Toyota has gone crazy really with the suspensions on the different versions of the 4Runner. Almost every version has a different suspension. That does apply up here to the top level. Limited and Platinum both come with adaptive dampers. And because you have that adaptive variable suspension, this is going to give you some customizability and some extra kind of comfort depending on the scenario that you're participating in. So when we're going around corners like this, it's able to kind of firm up and really minimize body roll. It is definitely noticeable compared to some of the other versions that we drove earlier today. And also, we can talk a little bit about ride quality as we go down this hill.
Yeah, the ride quality, I think, is really good. Like Drew said, you have the adaptive dampers, and I think they do a good job of kind of, minimizing the truck-like feel of the 4Runner. That's something that, buyers do appreciate, but sometimes it can let in a lot of rattles and, bumps and stuff. This feels more luxurious to me, and I think they have done a really good job of making the Platinum a step above when it comes to ride quality. And even though you do have the really large wheels on the outside, it does a good job of compensating.
Yeah, I feel like it's taking out like at least 10% of those vibrations that come from having a body on frame structure.
Let's go ahead and get our sound level reading, going 55 miles per hour in this Top Dog 4Runner. We're looking at about 57.1 is what we've settled in at. That's a pretty good sound level reading. I don't have to sit here and guess, though. I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings. And on our website, we posted all of the two-row midsize SUVs that this competes with, and you can see how it compares. And indeed, that does mean that it's going to be placed pretty much right in the middle of the segment. It's not the quietest, it's not the loudest, but like Drew just mentioned, we are here in California. We are not home in Kentucky, and we do look forward to getting one of these back home so we can give you that official sound level reading. I think that's a pretty good reading, actually, considering, the fact that we're under like a super wind warning of like 50, 60, 70 mile an hour gusts, and also we're in California, so typically the road conditions are a bit louder. And as far as your fuel economy is concerned for the Platinum, even despite having more power, more torque, the hybrid does work a little bit of its magic there by giving you 1 mpg better. 23 miles per gallon is what you're looking at for this version. The other two are 22 and 21, so about a 2 mpg improvement over another four-wheel drive 4Runner with the standard gas powertrain, so that's something worth noting. And I think it's about time for us to get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball for the Platinum. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the Slam Dunk?
We've been talking about it through this review. I mean, the slam dunk is the fact that this exists. This is the most luxurious 4Runner that they've ever made. It seems, very clear overall when you think about that. Just how much luxury that you have in place inside this interior that you never really thought would be happening in a 4Runner, basically.
Yeah. On the Airball side of things, we're going to say it's the price. Toyota definitely shop for a high price with this 4Runner, and this Platinum is a great example of that. We're sitting at around $64,000. I'll talk about that a little bit more later, but it's a very expensive option, that's for sure. Now, how much is all of this going to cost? Well, the Platinum is a very expensive trim level, so it's a far cry from the base price of $40,770 of the SR5. So we're starting at $62,860. It blew some dirt in my eye, so I'm trying to read off the prices, but I can't really see. $62,860. Now, if you want all the options like what we have on today's example, expect a little bit more than that, so about $64,000 for a Platinum. That's not the most expensive 4Runner. You can get the Trail Hunter and the TRD Pro will be more expensive. They start at around $67,000. Now, if you're looking to buy a Toyota 4Runner or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that and make dealers compete on pricing, we'd encourage you to follow the link in our video description as well as the pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is about more than just original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Toyota 4Runner's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth a very good 64.5% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 41.4%. Those are really, really impressive figures overall. It's actually the second best of any brand out there, and specifically for the 4Runner model, it's even better than brand average based on what I have seen recently, so certainly that's something to keep in mind. This thing will hold its value quite well.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several trustworthy sources on reliability and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Toyota is rated as the #1 brand overall.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our reliability, resale data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth review of the fully loaded 2025 Toyota 4Runner Platinum. If you enjoyed watching this video, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this on some of the fully loaded examples as well as on the base end. We cover all the different trim levels and types of vehicles on this channel, so I promise you won't want to miss out on subscribing down below. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.